Good evening and welcome to this edition of Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. On the show tonight, we examine the fallout of the Godhra verdict. Has it raised more questions than answers? And as the Malkangiri collector comes back home after 9 days in the captivity of Maoists, should the state ever negotiate with those who perpetrate violence? Joining me on the programme tonight, Salman Khurshid, the Union Minister for Minority Affairs and Water Resources. In Delhi, here in the studio, we're joined by Kiran Kher, National Executive Member of the BJP, Professor Ashish Nandi, sociologist and author, Shoma Chaudhary, the Managing Editor of Tehelka, which has done a lot of work on Gujarat, and Kanchan Gupta, the Associate Editor of The Pioneer. First up tonight, it's a verdict that was closely watched and anticipated because what happened in February 9 years ago in Godhra triggered some of the worst communal violence India has seen. This week, a court in Gujarat ruled that the fire that killed 59 car sevaks in the coach S6 of the Sabarmati Express was a conspiracy, not an accident. 31 men were convicted, but interestingly, 63 accused were let off, including the main accused, Maulvi Umarji. Today in court, the prosecution argued that the 31 accused should be given the death sentence. The quantum of sentencing, though, will be announced on the 1st of March. That brings us to our first question tonight. Is the Godhra verdict a step towards closure, or has it actually reopened old wounds and raised more questions? I'd like to come to Kiran Kher first. There was a sense that other political parties were very cautious when the verdict came out. The Congress didn't really give a view on it. The left didn't. But the BJP was sort of euphoric that this conspiracy theory was, in a sense, vindicated, because that's something the BJP has stressed on for a long time. Why the euphoria over that? Why the sense of vindication?
Well, I would beg to differ with you, because I was glued to the television that day. And I would like to very respectfully point out that it was the Congress that came out and, as usual, gave some statements which, according to me, would have reopened old wounds. Jayanti Natarajan left the Rajya Sabha, came out. In fact, Rajya Sabha was held up for about half an hour, 45 minutes while she was giving bites, and said, we hold the Modi government directly responsible for the post-Godhra riots. It was not a moment to talk about post-Godhra riots. So I don't agree with what you said, that they were graceful and they were subdued. In fact, I noticed this happened after the Ayodhya verdict.
I didn't say graceful.
Well, sorry. But you implied that. And so I would say that this happened after the Ayodhya verdict also. The statements coming from the Congress.
Why does the BJP feel that it is vindicated somehow, that the conspiracy theory is what the court has said? I mean, the court has upheld.
Well, I wouldn't say that they feel vindicated. I think they feel somewhere that justice is being done, because for many years it has been implied, it has been tried to be proved. They've tried to prove it by making Judge Banerjee be there and various other things, that this is, with so many NGOs and so many other people working over there, trying desperately to prove that this was something which had happened by accident, or something that had been done by themselves to create a problem, rather than it being a conspiracy to actually burn the coach. Now, I must also remind you that this is not a Gujarat court which has done it. This is being monitored by the Supreme Court of India.
But my question is, the reason I ask this question is that, even if it was a conspiracy, then it's a terrible tragedy, obviously, that has happened either way.
Of course it is.
It still doesn't justify what happened that followed.
No.
But is there a sense of justification that's being sought within the Sangh Parivar, that, okay, this was done on purpose and therefore it was a reaction? What happened after that, where 1,200 people, mostly Muslims, were killed, was a reaction to what happened in Godhra?
Look, firstly, I again take strong objection to the use of the word Sangh Parivar, because when you talk about the BJP, of which I am a member of the National Executive and a very proud member, I would like to say that please don't club us as some kind of fascist, Hitlerist kind of a thing. You make it sound frightening. That's not a fact at all. It's not true. And I think it is very sad when any Indian or any human being dies, and I do not think that what followed was state-sponsored, as has been implied, and directly we have been accused of it. And there are 8 more cases to follow, which are being monitored and which are going to come to fruition. You will see that also. You also said 63 were let off and 31 were convicted. Sadly, 31 were convicted. You know, whenever there is a riot case, it's very difficult to get forensic evidence. Generally, the police has to follow through and, you know, get so many people.
I see the point that you're making.